Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Before we get started, here's just an overview of what to expect. I'll do a quick intro to GW, and then I'm going to turn it over to our faculty presenters who are going to share more about the forensic sciences programs. The presentation will be about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we're going to have time for live Q&A. We'll have a hard stop at 12:50, so make sure you get your questions submitted in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We'll address them at the end of the presentation. Hi again, I'm Sepide Ganot-Nevi. I'm Assistant Director for Graduate Recruitment in the Office of Graduate Studies for the Columbia College of Arts and Sciences here at the George Washington University. We welcome you to our Forensic Sciences information session. And we'll start with our intro to GW. So the George Washington University is located in the heart of Washington, D.C. As the largest institution of higher education here in the U.S. Capitol, GW welcomes 11,000 undergraduates and nearly 14,000 graduate students from more than 130 countries, helping foster a vibrant and global community. Our main campus is just 4 blocks from the White House and close to world-renowned government agencies, nonprofits, and private sector organizations, giving students unparalleled opportunities for internships, research, and career advancement. Within GW, the Columbia College of Arts and Sciences, or CCAS as we refer to it, is the largest academic unit. We are home to 5,000 undergraduates and over 2,000 graduate students. We offer over 90 graduate programs, 93 to be precise for this academic year. Nearly 500 full-time faculty dedicated to collaboration, critical thinking, and applied learning. With an average of $20 million in annual research funding, CCAS students and faculty help advance innovation and tackle real-world challenges. So now I am pleased to turn it over to our faculty to tell you more about the forensic sciences programs.
So hi, I am Daniele Podini. I am the chair of the Department of Forensic Sciences. And I'll have a slide later to tell you more about my background and why I'm here. But I'll start talking about the forensic science program that was created in the late 60s to support the education of FBI special agents. At the time, the lab of the FBI was in the Hoover Building, just a few blocks from east of the White House, so very close to the main campus of the George Washington University. We are the oldest graduate forensic science program standing right now. So we are located on the Mount Vernon campus, which is a 15-minute shuttle ride from the main campus. So you see, let me see if I can pull up the cursor here. Press this button. Yes. Laser pointer. So this is the main campus. This is basically where the White House is. So this is the main campus, and we are located up here. And there's a shuttle ride, a free shuttle that leaves around every 10 minutes from the main campus, right next to the metro stop that takes you up here, and it's free. This is our campus. It looks more like a typical campus. The main campus is the urban campus. This is a typical university campus with a lot of green. It's very nice. There's very nice old buildings. So we're very lucky. But obviously we're not downtown, but it's better because we have better parking compared to the downtown campus. So there are some advantages. I want to start talking about the program and the faculty, and everybody here has real crime lab experience. So the full-time faculty has worked in the field, and the part-time faculty is kind of recruited from local agencies like the local crime lab, the Department of Forensic Science of the metropolitan area. There's FBI, there's the ATF, there's the Secret Service. There's a lot of professionals in the field around us. We have probably the highest concentration of crime lab in the country and per square mile. And so we're able to bring in experts that are currently working in the field to teach our classes, the one that are not taught by full-time faculty. We have a different field of studies. The one I'm mainly responsible of is forensic molecular biology. So we train students to become DNA analysts. There's also forensic chemistry, crime scene investigation, And then we have a general program, and we're now in the process of developing a latent prints project program. It'll initially be in the form of a certificate, and eventually, hopefully, it will develop into an actual master's program. So I want to start talking about the FMB program, and those of you that are interested in becoming a DNA analyst. What is critical is that you have these 3 classes before you start attending GW: biochemistry, molecular biology, or also called molecular genetics, and genetics. These are courses, the content of which is required from the quality assurance standards of the FBI, that you have it. They used to specify the actual classes with names. They don't do that anymore, but many the directors of crime labs still focus on that. And so it's important that you have these 3 classes before you come here. We consider them as a requirement. Statistics and population genetics you will take here. So if you don't have them, make sure that in your intent to apply this coming spring, make sure you register for one of these classes, for the ones that are missing in the spring semester. Even an online course from an accredited educational institution will do. This is the program of studies for the FMB program, and I won't get too much into detail, but what is important is that we have a really tight program of studies. There's only 2 electives that we allow during your 2nd and 3rd semester here, but it's important that you stick to the course program of studies that we indicate. We are in the process of thinking of potential changes, and one of these is for students to take in the 2nd semester that they're here, instead of taking population genetics, they register for an elective and take population genetics in their last semester. And that elective would be bioinformatics, taught on the main campus. And the reason is that bioinformatics is becoming more and more relevant in the research field. And so because students are required to conduct an independent research project, now for the first time, we're trying to see if taking that class in their 2nd semester is beneficial, so they can use the content from that class in their research project. But overall, the program prepares you to become a DNA analyst. So the classes FMB 1, 2, and 3 focus on the molecular biology of the analytical process of testing evidence. Then we have a research and professional responsibility, which covers a set of parameters, a set of content that is required by FEPAC, which is our accrediting body, and kind of prepares the student to start developing a research project and being prepared to present it. Then we have criminal law. We have a principle of forensic analysis and investigation, and those 2 classes cover the general aspects of forensic science. The other discipline, meaning they cover chemistry, they cover pathology, they cover crime scene processing, they cover a little bit of everything, so that even though most of the classes prepare you to become a DNA analyst, you become aware of other aspects of the field. Eventually, our goal is not only to prepare you to become a DNA analyst, but eventually to maybe even become a leader in your laboratory. And so you have to be aware of other disciplines. We have a lot of internship opportunities. There's Bodhi Technology, which is a crime lab, a private crime lab that is very close to us, that every year takes in what we call a Bodhi Fellow. So if you are applying for the program, once you're admitted, you will receive an email by me or by the department asking you permission to share your application information with Bodhi Technology. They go over the application generally in late February, March, and then interview candidates and eventually select one to which they offer a fellowship position. So you can start in the summer working at Bodhi, and then eventually start classes here in late August and have a part-time job throughout your tenure at GW. Every Bodhi fellow has received a full-time job offer from Bodie. There's also SNA, which is a government contractor that does a lot with Homeland Security. They are the ones that are right now managing the Armed Forces DNA Identification Laboratory. So they hire a lot of our students. There's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which is local. They sometimes take interns, both. This is also true for forensic chemistry. There's the ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, that also does internships, although they are top secret lab. So some of their internships are actually here. So the student does research here for something that's of interest from ATF. We've had students do internships at the Public Defender Service and at the U.S. Attorney's Office to help attorneys understand the relevance of certain type of lab tests that have been conducted on the evidence. And so, although it's not a wet lab internship, you still kind of see the other side. So how this evidence, the results of these tests are used by attorneys, both from the prosecution perspective and from the defense. There's the Montgomery County Crime Lab. There's the Armed Forces DNA Identification Laboratory, which is not local. It used to be, but now it's in Dover, Delaware. But we've had students that did interns there. There's the Virginia DFS that has taken internships in the past. They haven't lately. And the FBI has also an internship program, but it's not through our department. It's kind of an independent federal government process. But we often are asked to provide recommendation letters for students. There's also another private laboratory that we're interacting now to try to see if we can do something similar like we're doing with Bodie. It's called Signature Science. It's located in Charlottesville, which is a 2.5-hour drive, which is too far for a regular internship during the academic year. But we're looking at setting something up so the student can spend the summer in Charlottesville and work on a project and then come back and continue kind of remote interaction, because a lot of this would be on bioinformatics, and so a lot of it can be done remotely. These are some of this technology that we have in our lab. This is kind of the workhorse of a crime lab, the CE machine, so the ABI 3500 genetic analyzer. And this is what is normally used in crime labs to generate DNA profiles. Here is a real-time PCR, which is used to quantify DNA. This is a digital PCR, so this is not used in crime lab. It's kind of potentially the future. And this is also the future. This is a NGS platform, so next generation sequencing platform, or also called massively parallel sequencing platform. And although this is not used in crime labs right now, it is probably the future because it's the present in clinical genetics. And we in forensics are a bit slow in adopting new technology, but some of the research that we're conducting in our laboratories here is exactly that. So to support the implementation of next-gen sequencing technologies into the crime lab. Just a little bit about me. I started working in the forensic field in the Carabinieri in Italy, which is a military law enforcement institution on the Italian territory. Then I was there for 3.5 years. Then I created the forensic section of a private laboratory. Also went back to school, get my PhD equivalent. And then I started here at GW in 2004. I do, aside from, teaching and right now being the department chair, I also do research and present at meetings, and I consult as a DNA expert in cases both for the prosecution and the defense. Another professor here is Dr. Cheng. She has a PhD from Sam Houston State University. She has a relatively young professor and has a lot of research experience and is supporting a lot of student research and teaching 3 classes. We also have Dr. Lewis here, who kind of came back to the department after a previous career, both as a principal investigator at Oregon University and as a grant manager, kind of research portfolio manager at NIH, and now is back here as a research professor supporting students in their various research projects, some of which are listed here. We don't have much time kind of to get in the weeds of the various projects, but in general, what we're trying to do is to improve methods to identify individuals from biological evidence. So we're looking at improving DNA extraction from hair, looking at markers that can improve mixture deconvolution, increasing our ability to predict the phenotype of an individual, the age of an individual based on DNA methylation. And also we encourage students to come up with research projects that might be interesting to them. And if we can fund them, we can then try to, support them in this endeavor. So a little bit about the forensic chemistry program. It's kind of, so forensic chemists are classified mainly in two branches, either drug analysts or trace evidence analysts. Although trace evidence is becoming less and less popular, there's less need, or laboratories are more focusing on either drug analysis or using DNA. Trace evidence can still be crucial in certain cases, so it shouldn't be disregarded. Here is the program of studies. It's very similar in terms of structure as the FMB that I showed you earlier. So you have forensic chemistry 1, forensic chemistry 2, forensic drug analysis. You still have criminal law. That you have forensic statistics, and then you also have principles of forensic analysis and forensic investigation, just like the FMB program. You have 2 electives, and again, you are required to conduct an independent research project. Here are possible electives that we recommend students. Could be, crime scene investigation, if you're interested in that too. Photography, examination of question documents. I don't have it here, but if you're interested in fingerprints, there's a lot of courses in fingerprint comparisons, the science of fingerprints, whatever takes your fancy, as long as it's relevant to the case. So research. So I didn't talk too much about research in the FMB, but this applies to the FMB program too. We are accredited by FEPAC, which is the Forensic Science Education Program Accrediting Commission. I'm acronym challenged, so sometimes I don't get it right. But it's essentially a branch of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences that accredits forensic science programs. And so as part of that, we are required, or our students are required, to conduct an independent research project that culminates in either a thesis or a written report. And what we ask is for a paper, essentially, that we would use to submit to a journal of publishable quality. Now, at times, because you don't have much time, your project might not yield results that could be publishable, but still you have to write a paper that is of publishable quality, right? If something doesn't necessarily work, what we ask you to structure it as if you were submitting it for publication. Hopefully we do publish your paper, right? You do publish it. And these are examples of students that ended up publishing their papers, and we have many more. This is just kind of an old slide, but we have more recent students as of actually 2025 that publish their research. But really what we want is that you start your project as soon as possible, so that come say halfway through the summer, in between your first and your second year, you have enough data to submit an abstract to the American Academy of Forensic Sciences, where you would be presenting your research. And for example, at the meeting in Baltimore in 2025, we had 14 students presenting. At the one in New Orleans, which is going to be the second week of February, we have 12 students that are 12 presentations from GW. So we really try to encourage students to do that because that's where you're going to meet employers, right? There's a university fair, there's also an employers fair. If you publish or present there, you can use that as a marketing tool in your interviews. So that's really important. There's also other meetings that we encourage you to participate. Dr. Eldridge will talk about some that are more specific to the CSI field, but there's also a local meeting, the Mid-Atlantic Association of Forensic Sciences. The meeting is in May, so sometimes it's hard to, because at that point you graduated, so it's hard for the university to support you there. But it's always a great venue for you to present your research. Here are some topics in forensic chemistry. So looking at psychoactive substances, synthetic cannabinoids, research on fentanyl, the identification of fentanyl. There's some toxicology research that we're suggesting. Again, whatever takes your fancy that you're interested in, that we can either support because maybe it's an ongoing project, and so you can kind of fall into that project, or maybe it's a good idea, or maybe we can find somebody outside of the department that can support you in that research. So a lot of our students are doing research in NIST, for example. Some are doing it at the Postal Service. There's a forensic science unit that's looking at trace evidence and fingerprints or trace evidence actually from that goes through the mail system, somewhat preventative stuff. We have all the technologies that is generally used in crime labs, and then some. And we also are connected with the chemistry department of the George Washington University that has other tools. So if you can do it here, we can do it there. Internships, again, the FBI, the Secret Service, a lot of students are doing internships there. ATF, the Postal Inspection Service, the one I was mentioning earlier, their crime lab has some of our students are doing internships there. The DEA, that's a little hard to get into directly, but we've had students that did internships there. NIST, like I said before, even the Library of Congress and the DC lab has taken some of our students as interns. Professor Barbosa is the main forensic chemistry director of graduate study, DGS. She comes with a degree in pharmacology and then in forensic chemistry. She also has an MBA, but we hired her because she worked in the Sao Paulo Police Department. She was a CSI for 3 years, and then for 7 years worked as a forensic chemist, and guided students in internship and research project, and has worked on thousands and thousands of cases. So she comes with a lot of experience, and so we're very happy to have her. Professor Lurie is also a research professor here. He's on his way out, but he's still mentoring students in their research project. He was 4 years at DEA, and he is definitely kind of a pillar in our forensic chemistry research, and is always there to help students and advise on research projects. Okay, with that, I'm gonna let Professor Eldridge take over and just tell me when to advance.
I will. Thank you, Professor Padini. So I am Professor Eldridge. I'm going to be talking to you about the CSI program, the Forensic Investigation Certificate, and the new Latent Print Certificate. So go ahead and advance.
Oops.
Or not.
It's not working. Hold on a second. Oh, here we go. There we go.
There
Sorry
we
about
go.
that.
All right. So I mostly do CSI right now. I'm the Director of Graduate Studies for the CSI program, which encompasses the other two certificates I talked about. And the CSI is really a fun program and a fun career because we get to be sort of generalists. A lot of people in the, forensic chemistry or forensic biology, they kind of just focus on forensic chemistry or forensic biology. But in CSI, we're the ones collecting the evidence. If we don't recognize it as good evidence, if we don't know how to preserve it properly, if we don't know how to store it properly, um, there's nothing that the chemist and forensic biologist can do. If we don't get the evidence to them and get it to them in the correct condition, it's useless. So the job at the CSI at the crime scene is really important because we're basically setting the wheels in motion for the rest of the investigation. And because of that, we need to have broad knowledge in all of the forensic disciplines so that we know what they need and what capabilities they have. So we have to know a little bit about everything, all these things that are listed here. And it means that sort of no 2 days are the same. You're getting called out on crime scenes all the time, and you never really know what you're going to get. And you never know what kind of evidence you're going to need to process because they're all different. So it requires some flexibility of mind. You have to be able to do, decision making on your feet, problem solving, logical analysis, to determine what's the best actions to take for any given particular crime scene. Go ahead and advance. So these are the faculty who teach courses in the CSI program. I'm the first one there. I teach all of the classes you see listed there, quite a few of them. And I'm the only full-time faculty who teaches just CSI. You'll notice that some of the professors, Professor Padini already talked about, like Professor Chang and Professor Barbosa, are on here because they teach classes that our students can choose to take as electives. And actually one that they are required to take as well. And the rest of the people listed here are our fantastic adjunct professors, and all of them are working in the field right now. A lot of them in agencies that are really nearby us. So that's helpful because you can build relationships with those people to get possibly internship opportunities or job opportunities or ride-alongs or just knowing somebody else in the field is really, really helpful. Go ahead and advance. So this is the little slide about me. This is just to let you know sort of where my background is. I have a MS in biology, a PhD in forensic science, and I've worked at several different forensic science laboratories. I started out with the Oregon State Police, then moved to the Eugene Police Department, then moved to Las Vegas Metro. So I've worked at both state, small, local, and large metropolitan-sized departments. And then I also worked as a full-time forensic science researcher for 7 years at RTI International before coming here. This is my 4th year here at GW. And I'm very involved in the community. I serve on a lot of boards and standard-setting organizations and things like that. And these are just some of the papers I've published. Go ahead and move on. So this is the curriculum for the two forensics or the two crime scene focused programs. On the left, we have the Forensic Investigation Certificate, which is 18 credits, and that's a 1-year program. And on the right, we have the Master of Science degree in Crime Scene Investigation, which is a 2-year 36 credit program. Now, we do not offer these courses in the summer. So for 2 years, you're going to be, fall and spring of 1 year and fall and spring of a 2nd year. I started down here that the forensic investigation program is a good entry point to the CSI MS. The reason I did that is if you look at these requirements here, you'll notice that pretty much everything that appears under forensic investigation also appears under crime scene investigation. So what that means is the forensic investigation has a lower threshold for admission. You don't have to have those science classes as an undergraduate like you do for the CSI program. So students can come in on the forensic investigation program, do their first year, and have basically the same classes that the CSI students are having in their first year. And then we have that time to evaluate you and see if you will be successful in the program. And if we think you will be successful and you'd like to stay on and complete the crime scene investigation masters, you can apply to basically transfer into the crime scene investigation program, and you won't have lost any time. You can still graduate in 2 years. So that's really nice as an option for people. So under the FI, these are the courses you have to take and you get to choose one elective. And under CSI, those are the courses you have to take and you get to choose 3 electives. And I've listed down here the electives that our students tend to take. You'll notice that the last one on there is any departmental course that is not required if you have sufficient background. So if you wanted to take, trace analysis or one of the low-level forensic biology courses or something, as long as you have enough background that you'll be able to be successful in that course. We definitely have had students who've chosen some of those as their electives. Go ahead and advance. This is the new latent print certificate. We're really excited about this one. It's just starting this fall for the first time, and it is completely online other than 2 brief trips to campus. This program is designed to get people through most of the training that you would get at an agency if you came in as a trainee. So you would be going to apply for your jobs, basically being equal to someone that they had already spent 6 months or a year training, which will make you very attractive to employers. It's going to be pretty intensive. There's a lot of practice here because this is developing a skill and developing an eye. So you have to spend a lot of time comparing to develop that eye. But basically, you take 2 courses each term for a full calendar year. So you would have photography and latent print comparisons in the fall. You would come to campus for a few days to do your labs. And then in the spring, you would do the advanced comparisons and a communications class that teaches you about testimony and things. And then in the summer, you would have your processing class and your digital image processing class, and you would come back to campus again to do the labs for processing and to go through your court exercise. So go ahead and advance. These are some of the careers that any of these programs could set you up for. Most of our people want to be crime scene investigators, but we do have quite a few who go on to be fingerprint analysts, people who are interested in other pattern evidence like question documents or firearms and tool marks or footwear. And we get a handful who want to be medical legal death investigators or forensic investigators. We also get a few who want to be forensic pathologists, but just keep in mind that to do that, you have to go to med school first. So some people come here and then go to med school next. Continue. And there's our contact information. Please do note that there's a different email address there for each topic area. So try to contact the person associated with your topic area if you have a question. Otherwise, we'll just forward you to the other person.